What's good, y'all? Hey, you already know, Vaughn Mays. This is the relaunch of the Activism Advocacy podcast. I'm going to link in the Facebook page later. I'm trying to figure this whole thing out. I'm using some new equipment, as y'all can see. My co-host won't be joining me today. But we're going to talk about some things that's going on. There's something that's actually going on right now. Very important, which is the budget hearing from the Common Council. It's supposed to be happening now. Facebook been down. Instagram been down. Messenger been down. So it has been quite something today. What's good? Peace for everybody who just now tuning in. So we're gonna touch on all that. But because social media has been kind of down all day, I mean, for those of y'all who just now tuning in, Activism Advocacy Podcast, we relaunching, started this a couple years ago. So we're gonna get into all that. Got an agenda here. Let me see. So one, we're going to cover a couple things. We're going to cover, and this is the thing, in the comments, you can tap in, tune in, let us know what subjects you want us to talk about. This is about basic civics. It's about community. It's about the issues that's going on. Education. Is there something going on that you want to know more about, that you don't know nothing about? And we're going to be bringing in people in here to recognize and present them to you. Other leaders out here that you may not know, never heard of, don't know what they do. But we about grassroots, and we about uplifting other leaders. We about pointing out and, recognizing people who don't get recognition. It's ones of us who everybody know, or who most people know. We are the familiar names. But we're going to bring some people to you who are also out here doing some great things, and whose faces and names you may not ever get to see, but we're going to bring them to you. So we're going to get into the what and why. What is the Activism Advocacy Podcast, and why are we doing it? We're going to also talk about, like I said, the mayor's budget that he presented, but then also I'm informing y'all that there is a budget hearing that's going on right now, pretty much, at the city level. Peace. This is dope, man. I'm looking at this screen. I'm gonna have to do it on my iPad so I can see it bigger from now on. But I can see y'all comments and stuff like that. So again, if there's any, if you don't know what the agenda is for the show tonight, go to the Activism Advocacy Podcast page, and we always put out an agenda before every show, so you can know what we're talking about. You can kind of prepare your questions and concerns based around what we got set to talk about. We're going to talk about how do we turn the city around, because we do have elections coming up, specifically the mayor's election, or Chevy Cavalier Johnson, who's the Common Council president at the moment. When and if the mayor ever leaves, resigns, whatever the case may be, he becomes the automatic mayor, okay? So Chevy Johnson becomes the automatic mayor in the instance that anything like that happens. But there has to be an election process after that about who, thank you, Lexi, about who the next mayor will be. Even not talking about just the mayor, the county, I put a post up the other day, or yesterday rather, where I asked y'all, if you were the mayor, if you were the alderperson, alderman or alderwoman, if you were the county executive, what would you do to turn this city around? Like, what are some things you suggest or you would try? And people gave a lot of good input. Bring the mic closer. I'm gonna have to just talk. So let me try this. Give me 1 second, and I'm gonna move this camera up. I'm assuming somebody can't hear me all the way good, so I'm gonna move this up. It might be very close, but we're going to try to get this together for those of y'all who may be having trouble hearing. So let me widen this real quick. Can y'all hear me better now? then don't worry about it. I have all these mics. I got all this stuff set up. It's not completely set up. I'm just making do with what I got right now. So the next thing we're going to talk about is, why do people need to prepare to vote in the next election? I just kind of touched on that. But we also going to talk about lobbying. We also going to talk about what's happening this time around with the voter suppression. We all know in the last mayoral race that Tom Barrett cheated. We know that he suppressed the vote as a Democrat. This is typically something that we got to deal with Republicans, with them trying to put all these laws into place where you got to have your ID and it got to be this and somebody got to be there with you to make sure you sign it and all this other stuff all these rules they put in place to make it hard or make it complex for you to vote or for your vote to count. So we're going to talk about that kind of stuff. And then, we'll tap in with COVID and this whole vaccine conversation. But let me start you off by what is the Activist and Advocacy podcast and why do we need it? Why am I doing it? So again, Activist and Advocacy is actually started out as a curriculum. So I believe that one of the main things, I'm big in education. I'm big about knowing as much as possible. And because we don't know a lot, and I'm not talking about people just being dumb, not knowing how to read, et cetera, et cetera. I'm talking about people, when I come through the community, such as with Movement Men, we come through do community wellness checks, or we're coming through doing patrols, and people see somebody like David Bowen, who is a state representative. A lot of them think that he's the alderman. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them think that he's a senator. You know what I mean? And he's not. He's a state representative. And so people not knowing that, I have to be able to break down for people what somebody is, what their job title is, and what all that entails. You know what I'm saying? So it's a curriculum that kind of gives everybody a starting point in education on basic civics. Who is who and what is their job and what can they do for you? What are they supposed to be doing for you? That way they can't trick us, because they do a lot of finger pointing and saying, this person's supposed to be doing that. No, I can't do nothing about it. This person's supposed to be doing that. And they send you in circles and they be lying. So it started off as a curriculum. And another reason for this is not just the education piece, but because we need to properly train our people who call themselves activists and people who call themselves going into politics. We need to be able to groom and build our own leaders. We don't need people just placing people who nobody know. We don't know where they came from, who they've been trained by, who they've been following around in the political realm and have been groomed to be put in front of you and say, vote for me. We need to cease doing that. That has not worked. That has never been in our best interest. We need to find everyday people who have the passion, who have community as a priority, and people that we personally know. So we can be like, hey man, what you doing, man? You out here messing up. We can have them conversations with people without them getting offended or without them getting, upset about you demanding that they do the job that they asked you to vote them in to do. And so again, that is the whole purpose of me presenting the curriculum idea. But because I'm not able to get into the schools, which I am still trying to make my way into these colleges at the very least, or any other campuses, private schools, whatever the case may be, for people who are willing to give me the opportunity to do the curriculum piece of it with our young people, because advocacy does not have an age. We have a young lady with us named Janiyah Williams. She's been with us since she was 15 years old. Tevin Humphrey, I think he came in, he was 17. Tay Jackson was an activist. She was 20, and had been doing it a number of years prior to me knowing her. So it doesn't really have an age. Anybody can be an activist or an advocate, depending. You have, students who are activists or advocates in their own right. You have corporate activism. You have a bunch of different stuff that are lanes that people need someone to stand up and speak for them and help organize each other around speaking out or speaking up for them in them aspects. So the curriculum part. Now, because again, I could not do the curriculum, my other idea was to do it as an awards platform to recognize other leaders and activists. Because one of the things that I find, what's good, Shaquila? Speaking to somebody, shout out to Butterfly Effect. One of the things that I find when you come to these mainstream award platforms, this city is very political. They pick and choose who they want to call leaders. They don't be knowing who people are. They don't know who really out here doing stuff. So they get these awards based off who they think they know or who they want something from or who they are grooming for their own reasons. And I cannot tell you how many times people were given awards for stuff they did not do. Giving credit and awards for stuff that I personally have seen other people start this work and have, been the driving force and get bypassed for the next person to get the award for it. And so I wanted to create a grassroots, equitable, fair, platform that, we all know. We are out here in the same circles. We know who do what. We know who's doing the work. We know who people are. And so I thought that starting it as an awards platform would have been a hell of an idea to do from a grassroots perspective. But that takes money. That takes venues. That takes planning. That takes organizing. That takes all these different things. And so this is how you got the Justice Ball. The Justice Ball came from the idea of the Activism and Advocacy Awards platform because I was unable to do it. So another organization took that on and you got the Justice Ball out of it, which in my opinion, still was not my complete vision. And so I'm going to continue to try to put my complete vision into what it is. But because I could not do the curriculum or the awards platform, we started with a podcast. And I think we did the podcast for about 6 to 8 months. You can go back on the page and you can see all the people that we pulled in and interviewed. You can see all the people that we recognize as leaders, not just in Milwaukee, but across the nation. Because I like putting positive images of Black people in front of my community. I like people to know that this person is doing this for you or doing this for their community. I recognize. I don't want to be the only one. And none of us should be striving to be the only one. That's ridiculous to want to take on all the work yourself or to claim that you take on all the work yourself. I think that's very egotistical. And we are all getting older and, the more the merrier, but we do need quality over quantity. So this is why we launched the podcast. So being that, let's get into some of these topics. The mayor's budget. Now let me break down some of this stuff when it comes to the mayor's budget, because this is one time of many again that the mayor has been presented with this pot of money, and we see it every year, 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10. Actually, the police department gets roughly 50% of the entire budget of the city. And then you have things happen like you get 1% in education, you get 3% at the health department. And all this just ridiculous stuff where it's like there's no investment in community and the stuff that community needs, the stuff that can prevent us from needing more police. So they continue to tell us we need more money to put more police in this. And it's a lie and it's ridiculous. And it's not, changing the conditions that are causing a lot of the stuff that we see happening. And so the mayor's budget for this year, I'm gonna just read some of the stuff that I got out of the news, which is this one I like because there have been a number of I believe last year or the year before, in the past year to 3 years, there have been an EMT service or an ambulance service that has left. There have been a number of cuts at the fire department. So when we're talking about first response, you'll always hear me talking about community first responder model. That's something I came up with. But like before I became an activist, like that was one of the first things in my early 20s that I experienced myself. I kind of crafted this curriculum or this training and urbanized it. It's in my way, it is taking disaster relief training and other trainings and morphing them to fit the urban community and our actual issues. But we live in a city where we're continuously cutting fire departments. We're continuously not investing in proper and adequate health care. We just had the whole Ascension and St. Joseph thing where the hospital was trying to leave and relocate. So he put $4.7 million to support ambulance system, whatever. So how that money is going to be spent, I don't know, but I like the way that that's going. I just don't know the particulars. $4.7 million, almost $2 million, $1.8 million into eviction prevention. So for all of those who may be facing eviction, there's money, at a lot of these different organizations. I would say the first place to go look or ask. And some of our partners at Comforce, County Supervisor Ryan Clancy, maybe Sequana Taylor, maybe Senator Lena Taylor, they can more helpfully direct you or directly direct you on where you can go and access these or apply for these dollars if you are at some point going to face eviction and you may need assistance with that. You put $1.8 million into that. $7.5 million to respond to reckless driving. It sounds good, but I don't know what the fuck they finna do with that money. And 9 times out of 10, that tells me that some kind of way they're going to find a way for that to go to the police department. And I'm not okay with that. Again, more police does not equal less crime. It does not equal the prevention of crime. And so if we're going to spend that amount of money, I need to know what exactly we're doing with that amount of money and how they think is going to impact the issue of reckless driving. So let's circle that one. And let's also circle the 4.7. So we already at, that's roughly $12 million. So let's also go to $14.8 million to the fire department, because we've had numerous cuts at the fire department level. We've had numerous fire stations to close, and that has had an effect, on responses to different incidents, and it's a job loss. I personally met with the fire department a number of times, specifically the black firefighters and others who are looking to try and recruit people into that field. And I feel like that's a career field that a lot of our people do not usually consider going into. And I know fire and police are very closely connected, but I feel comfortable asking because, again, I come from a first responder background. And so when you talk about service of the people, I think that is an opportunity that a lot of our especially young men and women should be looking to go into. There's attempts at making it diverse. There are a number of black firefighters, and they try to stick together. They try to, build up a community of themselves, but we just don't have people even thinking to go into these fields. And so $14.8 million into the fire department. Okay, that's cool. 7.7 into public works. I did not write down the specifics of that. Of course, we want public works to work better than whatever it is they work, but I don't know how they plan on spending that money. So that's another question that I have. $6 million into MPD for 3 recruit classes. So while people were talking about, I saw somebody yesterday talk about crime is up because people have been defunding the police. People have not been defunding the police. If anything, they have gotten grant upon grant upon grant, federal grant upon state money, upon this money, upon that money. Nobody is defunding the police right now. A lot of them are retiring by choice. A lot of them are resigning by choice. And honestly, a lot of that is spite. A lot of that is even the thought that society wants to side with community rather than police. A lot of that is a retaliatory act. But with this $6 million and 3 recruit, the number that I saw was 129 or 189 additional officers. So I don't know how you can add cops and say we're defunding them. I really don't understand that. But $6 million more dollars to the police department. $4.2 million to the Mlk Library Project. I've seen that project spoken about for a number of months, maybe a year or two. I've seen the plan, so to speak. Do we need that right now? I'm not really sure. I mean, of course, man, our young people need a library. They need somewhere to go. I'm not totally against that. I just don't know all the particulars. And again, just for the times and all the other stuff that we need, I'm not sure that we should be spending $4.2 million on a upgraded library. But other than that, I support it. I just, I don't know the particulars, and I for right now, I just don't know. 1.2 million into the Milwaukee Domestic Animal Control Agency or something. $2 million into animal control. $1.8 million into animal control. $1.8 million into eviction prevention. How you come up with the same number to help people avoid eviction as the same number that you are going to help animals is just something else to me. I mean, cool for the animals. We got a lot of strays out here, or whatever the case may be. I'm still concerned about how we have these places that sell you animals. Like, they're supposed to be rescuing animals and stuff like that. They take animals from people and then they sell them back to the community. I've gone places where they're charging upwards to $1,000 or something or more for some of these dogs and, breeds of dogs and stuff like that. I'm just like, I don't get it, but okay. Then the last thing that I wrote down was $300K into early childhood education. That's not a lot at all. What they plan on doing with $300,000, I don't fucking know. And early childhood education, those are the prime, years, the youngest of the young, who right now, especially during the pandemic, if we want people who actually do have a job to have somewhere to send them and, have just adequate resources for parents of children that young, $300,000. I don't know what they plan on doing with that. So this was the mayor's proposed budget. Some of the items on the mayor's proposed budget. You can follow Marquesa Tucker and the whole participatory budget process and plan that they've been pushing. This is something that a number of activists have been talking about for years and years now. We've been talking about these budgets. We've been talking about them listening to the community about doing what we say we want them to do with our money. And that hasn't been happening, honestly, to keep it all the way 1,000 with you. And that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? That's problematic. So make sure you follow the African American Roundtable and Marquesa Tucker with the whole participatory budget, process and push and campaign that they've been talking about. Now, let me try to look this up again. Okay. How do we turn this city around? And I'm going to merge that with the next question, which is why people need to prepare to vote in this next election. This is even more dire because I saw something today that very much so concerns me. Although I am happy in a sense, and I support it in a sense, Lena Taylor is not going to run for mayor. Lena Taylor has decided to run for lieutenant governor because Mandela Barnes is not going to rerun for another election. She's going to run for that particular seat next to Tony Evers. She's not going to run for mayor, which I believe she would do a hell of a job, more than what we saw with Mandela Barnes. I know a lot of people were concerned about, exactly what he was doing in that position and, how visible he was and like, what is the actions, what is actually getting done. A lot of people had concerns and thoughts about that. But I'm even more concerned now because that's going to leave a mess when it comes to who becomes our next mayor officially. So we need to get it together. We really need to get it together. Who are all these people that plan on running? I know we have, and just the names of people off the top of my mind that I actually remember, we have Sheriff Lucas running. We have City Attorney. How could I possibly forget his name? Coggs, Spencer Coggs. And I cannot remember the other folks right now off the top of my head. But those are two of the candidates that are running for mayor. I'm just concerned. I'm concerned, one, about who can actually win that seat, who has the actual support in people and in money to win that seat. Like, who has a realistic chance? I can't answer that question. I really can't answer that question. So I'm really like, this is going to be kind of a toss up, and it's going to be a money game, and it's going to be, it's going to be something with Lena not running for that seat. And I will always support her in that mayoral race, because I'm like, to turn this city around and for what the skill set is, I believe Lena was the best choice to run with, regardless of what other people say. But a number of them I support, in different aspects, and a number of them, they going to have some challenges. They've had their own controversy, or they've, a lot of them may not just have the support to actually win. So it's going to be a toss-up in that sense. So people really need to, it's going to come down to the wire. It's going to come down to people actually getting out and participating. And I mean, again, man, whoever our next mayor is, they need to have a true commitment, not this bullshit, political, get on camera and just, I'm black, vote for me. It's time to turn the city around, and we need something new. We've had the same thing downtown for 20 plus years. I spent, from 14, 15 years old up to now in this city under, leadership to where it has affected me in those aspects, and as far as life and quality of life. I think it's time to turn the city around. And whoever wants your vote, you're going to have high demands for them. We can no longer just vote for people because they black or because their name is such and such and such and such. There's time out for that. And we have to be very strategic and very conscious of who we elect and put in the positions of power and authority when it comes to our lives. If y'all got any input on that, if you know of any of the candidates and you got any, input on if you like them, if you support them, if you want more information on them, we'll run a fair, and balanced, I don't want to say, conversation as far as who these people are. And we can talk about it. We definitely can. Because this ain't a decision for me just to make. This is a decision for the entire city of Milwaukee. And a decision that's going to affect the entire city of Milwaukee. We can continue to go on the decline that we are seeing, and on the path that we are seeing, or we can have somebody who's going to say, you know what, I'm going to switch stuff up. I'm going to do things different. I'm going to be innovative, and I'm going to listen to people. I'm going to bring in a coalition. I'm going to bring in something like what we got with ComForce. People who are on the ground, who know what's going on, who know what we need, and I'm going to take some guidance, I'm going to take some input, and we're going to put some things in place. That's somebody that we need to have, whether we're talking about the permanent chief of the Milwaukee Police Department, whether we're talking about the mayor or any other seat of power like that. We have to demand that people, be about the democratic process. The democratic process is for people to say, this is what I want, and this is the person I choose to do it. And then that person is supposed to take that on and go and do it. And we have not been getting that. We have been dealing with a society where, some people's value is more than others. And, as long as this group of people say they okay or fine or like what the person is doing, they disregard the lesser thans, or however we're looked at. And we get what we get. Lobbying and voter suppression. As far as when I talk about the elections, we have to bring back some tactics that are going to make it the easiest, most simple, and assisted process of helping people be able to vote with validity. Of course, they're trying to make it, especially for people, early voting was a huge thing. Mail-in voting was a huge thing. And they continuing with this whole Trump stolen the election garbage. And so they're crafting rules around a ridiculous, unreal untrue premise that people cheated and stole elections and the dead people was voting and all this crazy stuff. So they're going to make it harder for people who actually validly voted to do so again. And that, again, when we talk about voter suppression, this is a historic thing, to deter people from the process, to put, BS candidates in your face and have them not do their job to deter you from the process. These are all designed things to do. And when it comes to, like I said, I care. The least, if we get these people in these seats who are of low quality, then that stuff gets piled on me in the end. When they're not doing their job, I get those calls, and I don't want them calls. So I want somebody who gonna actually do their damn job, which leads into the lobbying. When we're talking about state law and legislation, this whole George Floyd era, this whole police accountability era, and even when we're talking about crime, one of the things that we do not have that we need to do is we need to have lobbying groups that are prepared to get together and go to Madison and tell those legislators to their face on record, this is what's going on in Milwaukee and this is what we want. Because what's happening is because we're not in those rooms, because we're not part of those conversations, they are making up their mind to do whatever the hell they come up with and think is best for our communities. And we all know how the rest of the state looks at Milwaukee. Even though we are the economic driving factor to the rest of the state, we produce more money and spend more money or send more money to the state and get the least back. We're totally being done wrong. That's taxation without representation, and that's illegal. That's not patriotic. That's not American at all. But this is how things have been allowed to happen. And honestly, we have so many of these white suburb, don't even live in Milwaukee County, don't know nothing about Milwaukeeans or Milwaukee County aside from what they see on the news, and what they talk about in their little racist, we ain't got that many black people, but we gonna decide off Fox and BET how black people are. So they they coming up with these laws and coming up with these restrictions and all this different stuff to specifically target Milwaukee and Milwaukeeans. And I think that is I don't even like that locally. I feel like if they don't live here, if they're not connected to this city, and they don't have the support of the actual residents of the city, they should not be crafting law and legislation that affects this city in particular, because it is the predominantly city of color. And when you have predominantly people who are not of color, or who are devoid of color, whatever you want to say, specifically like crafting legislation to negatively affect, when we already have this negative, everything that's crafted and drafted about this community is done in a negative fact, that there's so little that is done that has, that aims for a positive effect on this city. And we cannot accept that anymore. And we need to have people prepared to lobby, to go out and, at least a dozen people, to get on a bus or the carpool or whatever it is when they're having these hearings and they're having these legislation conversations about what should be done. People who look like us, who getting affected by this, need to go up there and say, hey, this ain't, I hear you, but this ain't what we want. This ain't what's needed. This is what needs to happen. And hold them to that, because by you not being in those rooms and those conversations, they just make up whatever it is they want to make up, and it becomes law. The Republicans typically have the majority when it comes to what passes and what doesn't. And then you have Democrats who go along to get along. They don't fight. I mean, it's just clearly racist, clearly targeted, rhetoric laced legislation, and they co-sign it, they don't fight it, or they are very quiet, about this stuff. They don't ring alarms or anything. They just let it happen, or it's this favor for favor thing that's been happening at a local and at a state level, where I'm going to support this where I know is detrimental to my city and my area and my people and my community, but I want something done that I want them to vote yes on. So I'm just going to support this so I can broker support on something that I actually want to do. That's not democratic at all. We can't be having them, make a deal with our laws and our politics. This can no longer be allowed to happen, and that's what has been happening. I'm gonna take a second. It's 7:42, and our show is only an hour long, by the way. So, peace. So I see a couple comments. And hopefully this is informative to y'all. Again, put in the comments if it's something specific that you want to learn about. If you are interested in coming on the show, if you are interested in being a guest, we can definitely have you on. Again, but engage us on the actual Activism and Advocacy podcast page. So you can engage us here on the live, but make sure that you invite people to follow and watch the Activism and Advocacy podcast page. Again, you'll hear from people like Farina Brooks. You'll hear from people like Janiyah Williams. You'll hear from people like Shaquila Morrison and many people who are in our circles who are doing great major things, who have become leaders of their own right, who are doing great things. We'll bring them on. They'll jump in and engage in the conversation with us. And they'll tell you about them and what they have going on and how you can support them. Because again, this ain't just a political conversation. Again, it's about community and it's about uplifting people and organizations or whatever. We need to have a positive outlook because it's a lot of people in the city who still don't know who I am. You know what I'm saying? And by them not knowing that, they don't know who to turn to or who's out here for them. And I don't want that problem just with me because we all do something that is of great, benefit to the people of this city. If only they knew that this was available or offered to them. So this is kind of the freer part, but and also Renee Bliss. I can't remember what city that you're in, but one of the things that I had a conversation with her about is we don't do everything. So ComForce does, which is short for Community Task Force, MKE. We do a plethora of different services and, causes. But one of the ones that we don't do that may be needed, but there's nobody, to take on this particular issue that she finds dire, is advocacy when it comes to, let me not incorrectly say it, but people who are impaired or, let me see, 1 second. Awareness, resources, and safety for special needs families. So I'm not a special needs activist. I have no experience in advocating for people with special needs. And I'm not aware of anybody in Milwaukee who specifically does that. If y'all know of anybody, please let me know because we'd love to have them on the show to talk about what they're doing, and to support, them and their work. It definitely makes a difference. And there are different lanes of work. We don't do everything. We don't, So we want to be able to cover a good amount of different things, so we are, as inclusive as possible. But we want to engage people when it comes to best practices for life, best quality of life. Again, hopefully we can have some folks in here from the fire department. Hopefully we can have some people on here from organizations like Milwaukee Health Services. Shout out to Dr. Tito, Michelle, and, all the different staff from there that, has been a continuous help and service. Shout out to Michelle Pitts. Shout out to Wisconsin Voices for giving us the grant that allowed me to kind of bring this back in this aspect. And again, we are not done. This is not going to be the final look of the podcast. Today I'm by myself. I do have a number of co-hosts that's supposed to be doing the show with me. They were not able to come today, so that's fine. But people still, we have been putting this off. So much has been happening. Let me see. Okay, I see some more comments. How do you get people to the voting polls to vote candidates for the city of Milwaukee and not just for presidential candidates? One, you have to inform them because this is the thing. Like, people know that when the president, like, that's something that's constant. The other thing is a lot of them, a lot of people do not understand that local politics affects them more than the presidency. I think after Obama, a lot of people woke up to that. But then after Obama, also a large amount of people were like, well, that didn't really have any real effect on my life. He was a cool president and I like this and I like that, but I don't feel like it changed anything in my life. And they once again step back from the process. So one, informing people and educating people that, engaging back in this process at a local level is and you got to encourage people. It's like going to the doc. Listen, my team will tell you, man, you know what I'm saying? It takes a lot of encouragement. I know to go to the hospital if something wrong. You know what I'm saying? But ain't nobody like, hey, man, you know what I'm saying? Your foot halfway off. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm probably not going to go unless I get a lot of bit of encouragement. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody has to be, hey, man, I'm really telling you, you need to go, So you have to keep being that constant voice to people. One, and then it's the thing, it's a lot of, like, I vote, but it's a lot of, races and stuff that I'm still not privy to. We just had a state race for, like, a superintendent of education under the governor's office. I had no idea about that race. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the participation or lack of participation also comes from just not knowing, like, this other thing. Some people don't understand that the districting and who is there to vote. Like, for instance, if they're voting for somebody and they know this person's name and they looking to vote for that person, but then they get to the polls and don't see that person's name because they're not running in their district, then they're like, who the rest of these people? I've had people call me outside of the polls like, who is in my district and who should I be voting for? Like, who's on the ballot? So the education piece, people just not knowing. And this is why we're doing this. To help people through that process, because if people get there and they have questions, they just gonna do what they know and leave the rest alone, or not, just throw their hands up with it like, man, I don't know, So it's a lot of different factors to why we don't have this or that. And again, one of the things that I've gotten on Democrats specifically about, y'all need to hop off people about not voting, because you can't keep giving people, I always say this, and excuse me for saying this, but it's real. You can't keep giving people doo-doo versus pee-pee and think they gonna keep coming back to the polls for this. I don't want that. I just rather not. And I understand fully and completely, and y'all need to fully understand. You have to give people quality. If they invest their time and energy to come down and vote for you, and the next conversation I have with them after you elected is, I ain't seen them since I voted for them. I be calling. Like, you think they gonna keep coming back voting for you? No. There's a consistent process that happens afterwards that deters and discourages people from continuing or even starting to invest in that process. And I don't blame them at all. But this is why I do my due diligence to figure out who these people are and to encourage people to say, listen, this is the best option for our community. This is how it can help us. And let's engage and get you moving forward to getting you there. And by the way, make sure y'all share this and make sure y'all go to the Activist and Advocacy podcast page. I'm going to actually put this in the title now if it'll let me. But this is our first official episode of 2021. This is our official relaunch. I just linked it into the title. So after you get off this live, go and like the page. Go invite everybody on your friends list to like the page. That is very important. One of the things that I've noticed from these pages that we create is, people will even if you like it or follow it, because you're not inviting other people, you're kind of, or even sharing, sharing or inviting people to watch the live or the shows while we on. But we need to be able to expand our reach to as many people as possible. Because if you are a part of a family of people who do not vote, and you do, then you can be the driving force for us to reach the rest of them, and again, we're going to do some work, sort of like what we did with COVID, man. We're going to reach out to people and we're going to offer resources. If you need help with getting your ID done, if you need help with, transportation possibly to and from a voting poll location, if you need help knowing where your voting location is, and the hours that they open or whatever the case may be, if you need help figuring out what candidates are running in your district and, figuring out who these people are and who are the best candidates to vote for, we're going to try to put something in place for all of that, so that people, again, can have the best, process experience possible. Let me see. I wanted to try something real quick. Any more questions? You should go live from that. Yeah, so today I did it from my page because I know a lot of people are not following that page, which is why I did it from my page today. So from now on, the shows will be done off the podcast page. Oh yeah, so that's the other thing. Shakila, thank you for bringing that up, Shakila. We typically, when it comes to possibly working polls, if you are looking for a job and need some money, a lot of times we get forward that information and we get asked for us to find people for them to work the poll. So, there's employment opportunities that we, try and get our people as well. So even if you, around that time, we can make it lucrative for you as well. Like if you need a job at that time, Shakila, she is on our team and she got to do it, I believe, the last election. And I believe a couple other people, but all of this, man, we try to do what we can, in whatever aspect we can. Shout out to you, Sayer. Appreciate you. So this is the end of the show. It's the last 5 minutes. So just to remind y'all, we do have the MKE to New Orleans disaster relief effort trip happening October 14th through the 17th. Make sure that you support that. Follow that like page as well. Invite people to that like page as well, because we do need people support. I got a freaking whole carload shipment today. Shout out to State Rep Lakeisha Myers and Keon Malone Jackson for coordinating, getting this donation to us today of we got when I tell you a whole vehicle from trunk to front seat floor full of Pampers and diapers and baby items. For those of you who don't know, this will be our third disaster relief trip of this year. We've been to 2 cities in Mississippi, 2 cities in Texas, and now 2 cities in New Orleans, coming mid-October 14th through the 17th. So support us on that. Follow that page. I'm going to be making some posts from that page. You're welcome to donate items, hygiene, just disaster relief, pretty much anything. There's a list on there. You can support us at Cash App, COMFORCE MKE, Comforce MKE. Wait, I'm not sure if that's all the way true. It should be Comforce MKE, if I'm not mistaken, though. So Comforce MKE for that particular effort. So for the disaster relief trip, the Cash App is ComForce MKE, ComForce MKE. That will help with travel, gas, food for the team. I mean, maybe a team of 5 to 10 people that go with us, because we do have to unload and hand the stuff out when we get down there. It's always been a beautiful trip, man. People have always taken care of us. And so again, we got about 2 weeks less than 2 weeks, about a week and a half, if not even that. Wait, hold on. Listen, I don't even know what day it is. Yeah, about a week and a half, to raise money and supplies for that trip. So shout out to all the people who've donated, and shout out to August Schober, with Schober Outdoor. They own a lot of I want to say billboards in Milwaukee. One of them was the one that you saw my album release image on. They donated the cost of the truck, so the truck is taken care of. A 24-foot truck to get down there. So that's dope. We've had people donate. Shout out to Dee Dee and Greater New Birth. Shout out to Sandy Smith, who is one of the lead organizer, alongside from ComForce. Shout out to Homer Blow, Saquana Taylor. Just the whole team, the whole squad. ComForce, you already know what it is, man. And then lastly, for sure, Sayer. And then lastly, make sure you follow the event page and the information for the 7th annual RBG Giftmas door-to-door gift drive, which will happen December 24th. I'm going to make a post with that, with the information and the videos from the previous year. Amazing thing that we do every year. So just some shameless plugs that are associated, because this show is powered by ComForce. And ComForce and Program of Parks are the two leading umbrellas under which all of our work is done. So we want to let people know about that. And you are definitely welcome to come out with us this year and give these gifts out. It's always a great, beautiful experience. I want a lot of people to experience that, the actual giving, and to see what we do and see the people's reaction. It's all real. People don't know what block we come into. People don't know that we finna pop up to their house and get their kids. You know what I'm saying? Listen, man, I don't even want to talk about it. Y'all just make sure y'all follow that Cash App. Is Program the Parks MKE, of course. And I want to give a shout out to, matter of fact, Rachel. Rachel just ran a race. Rachel Gerke just ran what is it called? She ran like a marathon, and she got people to commit $1 or $2 or 50 cents per every mile that she ran towards our work, ComForce, Program of Park. So that money will go partly in between, towards the trip and towards the gift drive as well. So we really appreciate her for doing that. She didn't have to do that. So shout out to Rachel Gerke for doing that. And congratulations for running, I believe, 26 miles in 5 hours. That's dope. And it just goes to show, man, that the type of support, and the ways that people find to support us, it really makes a difference. So I really appreciate her for considering us and for doing that. So y'all already know, yeah, she ran 26 miles in 5 hours, fam. I don't know what kind of, whatever regimen you eating, I need to get a lot of that. Okay. Of course, man, Lexi, Liza, Rick, you know what I'm saying? You already know squad. Of course, always Michelle Pitts, man, a gift, a pure gift to this city. I'm trying to see if I can see people that are watching who may not be commenting, and shout them out. Anybody that I'm missing, I appreciate y'all for watching this episode. You know what I mean? That kind of went fast. It's an hour. It went fast. But again, drop them topics. Drop them issues you want to talk about. If you have a event or if you have, something going on, you want to let people know about it, forward it to the Activism Advocacy podcast page. We'll consider shouting you out and letting people know about your what you have going on. Of course, with everything that we do, it has to be free. So if it's something with a cost, of course, no. If you're selling something or anything like that, but if it's free resources or information for the community, and again, all sponsors are welcome to link in with us. All definitely. Again, we still need to build this up. We still need to hopefully figure out. I would like for my co-hosts when they do join me to be able to be maybe get a stipend or compensated for that. Man, this is. Again, man, we're taking on a whole lot of stuff, a whole lot of time and energy to do all of this stuff in our everyday lives. So we're definitely always looking at ways to support ourselves and just being able to sustain and continue to do that. So much love, man. I appreciate y'all. It is now, it's over the time. You already know what it is. Thank you for watching. Von Mays, you have now watched episode 1 of Activism Advocacy Podcast. We out.